We are back on Get Up with yet another twist in the Russell Wilson saga earlier this week. By now, you are aware of this letter that was sent to season ticket holders that mentioned by name multiple players on the Seattle team and curiously did not mention the name of its franchise quarterback, the face of that franchise, Russell Wilson. What does that mean? We're going to get to the bottom of it, and we are delighted to have that conversation by welcoming in the newest member of our panel, along with Marcus Spears and Torrey Smith. Dwight Freeney has joined us live this morning and is getting up with us here. Legend. He seems not to be looking at me. My sense is either he is completely... No, put it back. I'd like to see how this goes. Either he is completely uninterested in what we're talking about, or his shot was frozen. I think it would have been funnier if he was just so disinterested in my introduction of him that he just continued looking down and didn't come back to us. So, again, this is TV in 2021. We are doing the best we can to bring Dwight Freeney into this conversation today. But instead, Marcus, I will start with you because I did not have you yesterday. So the Seattle Seahawks sent out a letter to their season ticket holders, and they mention a bunch of guys, and they don't mention Russell? What is that?
Well, first of all, let me say this, G. I don't feel bad about having to come in and replace Dwight on the because he would have damn sure started over me. But let's get to the Seattle Seahawks because this is blatant, okay? We had the Dak situation with the highlight video. And I understood Dak is not under contract. It was a bad look for the Dallas Cowboys. Talked about that situation. Russ is the face of the franchise. Like, this is petty. Russ is being petty, and now the Seahawks are being petty. And I like that part of it because I'm messy. I like when folks get petty, but it's all in fun. But when you think about this situation, and you think about how everything has been transpiring, I don't think this is a mistake. I think this is something that they planned on doing based on Russ dropping these little crumbs that he's been dropping about the situation. Here's what I want Russ to do. I want Russ to say what Russ wants. I don't want to hear it would be nice and these are the 4 teams and would you like more input? I think so, yeah. Just answer the question. Just tell us what you want, man. Other quarterbacks are doing it. Carson Wentz told the Eagles what he wanted. Deshaun Watson told Houston what he wanted. If you want to be traded, if you want out of Seattle, Russ, just say it so we can stop thinking about what you want to do or what the possibilities are. Not saying any of this is going to happen, but I need Russ to say what's going to happen. Gee, real quick, my wife right now started making me coffee in the morning. She put sea moss in it. I didn't know what sea moss was. I told her, listen, if you put sea moss in my coffee and the coffee nasty, I ain't drinking sea moss no more. She said, Marcus, just shut up and just try the sea moss. But the bottom line is this, G. If I didn't like the sea moss, I would tell her, don't put it in my coffee no more. I need Russ to tell Seattle Seahawks what he wants.
How did you like the sea moss?
I loved it. It's so good. I got to come right here, right now.
Okay, excellent. Torrey, to you on this. What do you think? Last week you said that you think Russell Wilson is the most passive-aggressive, this is the most passive-aggressive anger you've ever seen a football player have. What do you think now that the Seahawks seem to have fired back in kind?
Yeah, in the social media world, as a guy that enjoys spending time on Twitter, they call that a subtweet. They're telling you something without actually saying it. And so when you leave out the franchise player of your team, it says a lot and it speaks volumes without them even mentioning anything. So what that confirms to me is it's beyond just Russell feeling that. This is a real concern. And if I were a Seattle Seahawks fan, I would be worried if my guy is serious about leaving. And on Russell's, I agree with you, Marcus. Russ needs to just go and say, hey, listen, I want out or we're going to figure this thing out. You can't have this in-between type situation. One, it just gives us things to talk about. So I really don't mind it. But when it comes to your team, your fan base, you want to know what the deal is going forward and the best way to go about it. And now it's like, you're not alone. All the quarterbacks are doing it. If you want out, just say you want out.
It's an interesting point. A lot of guys are saying things without saying things. Okay, I believe we have Dwight Freeney with us here. We've been trying all morning long. Dwight he's moving. I can hear him. This is a step in the right direction. And I want everyone to get an understanding of just how great our panel is today. Do you know that the left side of your screen, Dwight Freeney and Marcus Spears in their careers combined for 135.5 quarterback sacks? How about that from this defense that we have here today? Marcus, your thoughts on that?
My man, Dwight got 125 and a half of them things. So I contributed to your overall numbers, Dwight. Without me, you ain't over 130.
Hey, man, I love it. I don't care. 135. Hey, more guys hit the quarterback. That's all that matters. Come on.
Dwight, we are delighted to have you. We've been working on the tech stuff all morning long. We're in the middle of the discussion about this letter. You played most of your career in Indianapolis. We'll always remember you, those great seasons you had in Indy, and you were a great player. But was there ever a circumstance in which the Colts would have sent a letter to their season ticket holders that did not mention Peyton Manning's name?
Absolutely never. Never. I don't understand. I don't understand what Seattle's doing, to be quite honest with you. I do know this. They don't move without Rusell. I don't see them doing anything without Rusell based on how their team is structured. And I was over there for a few months, and it's pretty much when a play breaks down, Rusell just makes the play with his feet, and it's a lot of creativity. They don't have a guy like that in their organization or out there in the market. So for me, Rusell, yes, he's voicing his concern of how he's not involved in the offensive process, maybe play calling, maybe the people you guys pick up. I have no idea. But it's very hard for me to think and picture a Seattle Seahawks team without Russell Wilson.
I can tell you this, Marcus, that everyone I know in Chicago feels like it's already happened, right? The Bears fans are like ordering Russell Wilson jerseys, and this deal isn't happening or whatever it is. So there is a feeling, I think, out there this is going to happen. Marcus, in your heart of hearts, do you believe he gets traded this offseason?
No, I don't believe he gets traded, G. I think at some point this all works out. And if I was a Chicago Bears fan, I already think it's done too. We've been looking for a quarterback for the last 40 years in that organization. So listen, Russell Wilson, to me, by saying all of this, and that's the point, right? Like, if Russ is not going to say, I want out, then there is always that big enough gray area to say it's too many things that have to happen for him to be out. Right? Then you get into money, what teams are willing to give up to get him. And I'm sure teams would give up things, but this is one of those things where Russ has to realize, like Tori was saying in a way, the climate you're in now allows for you to help Seattle make a decision about if you'll be there or not by what you do. So if he says it, then I believe it's real. But as long as we keep having these roundabout maybe, maybe not. This is how I feel. Leave him out the letter. He'll be there for this year, and potentially we'll be talking about a serious departure next year.
I thought more about what you said there as we were talking, and you're right. The one thing with Dak Prescott, the omission of him from the hype video, he isn't the greatest player in franchise history. Russell Wilson, with no disrespect to Steve Largent, Jim Zorn, Matthew Hasselbeck, and Sean Alexander, is the greatest player the Seattle Seahawks have ever had. And so the omission of him at this point, it cannot be ignored. All right, guys.